In life, there exists an assumption about returning, that when you get to come back to something after being away from it for a while, it feels like going home after a long vacation. It's supposed to feel good. But sometimes when you get there, you find out things are a bit different than they used to be. There's a key piece of what you expected to find that's now missing. And sometimes that piece can be important to you, however insignificant it might have been in the grand scheme of things. But the world is not over just because of that. I know it's not, and I won't pretend like it is. What matters is that I'm back, and I have work to do.
Cinderella III, A Twist in Time. I'm going to assume that most of you are already familiar with this line of half-assed direct-to-video cash grabs produced by Disney Toon Studios. For those who aren't, they are notorious for preying upon the wallets of the adult authority figure of your choice as cheap, easy ways of getting kids to shut their traps for a couple of hours. And living the masochistic lifestyle that I do being a movie critic on the internet, I'm sure I'm going to have a wonderful time talking about this one. We begin our film at the 1-year anniversary of Cinderella and Prince Charming.
What a perfectly perfect life. It's a fairy tale come true. I'm a princess and a wife, all because I fit a shoe at the end of a perfectly perfect year.
Would my perfectly perfect wife put on her perfectly fitting shoes?
Cringeworthy lyrics less than a minute in. Wonderful. We also get perspective from some characters that didn't have such a good year.
Why should we have to do the chores? I would rather rot in jail. Washing dishes and scrubbing floors. Oh, that's just great, I broke a nail. Oh, what a perfectly miserably awful year.
From what I can tell, either you keep too many dishes in a house of 3, or you wait till the end of this perfectly miserable year of yours to do this mountain of chores. Either way, it's your fault. Under ordinary circumstances, I'd call this very proper comeuppance for the stepmother and stepsisters. But I did happen to watch Cinderella 2 as well. In that movie, Anastasia had a story arc where she fell in love with a baker, yet here she is now, living back at home. Continuity? This movie ain't never heard of it. What they do keep from that story is the idea of Anastasia as a sympathetic character.
Somewhere there must be someone who'll love me and show me a world that I never knew.
She follows the happy couple to their picnic site and sees the fairy godmother performing magic.
So that's how Cinderella did it. Magic.
Wow, Anastasia, you accepted magic existing pretty quickly there. Not to mention jumping to the right conclusion with just as little effort. Of course it was magic. What were we thinking? Love.
It's sure to be another magic week.
Tragically.
I would normally facepalm here, but in the last movie, Fairy Godmother forgot the only magic words she ever uses because it built dramatic tension. At this point, I can accept that she's just senile. Anastasia runs back home and, at first, gets about the reaction you'd expect.
A stick.
Ooh, let's beat her with it. Child, put that down. In the wrong hands, that wand could be extremely dangerous.
With the wand in hand, the stepmother, Lady Tremaine, aims to take full advantage of this newfound power.
Bippity boppity boo!
Wow. It's like the wand can tell that the person using it is evil. That, or it can tell that the voice actress also voices Maleficent and it's an homage.
Turn back tide and time, unravel Cinderella's happily ever after. Stop!
Giving our evil characters a redo of the first movie, Anastasia is the lucky one to get her foot magically resized so that it fits the glass slipper.
Oh, Mother, it fits!
Gee, I wonder if it fits.
It fits!
Cinderella comes downstairs, just barely late to the party.
danced with the prince. That was my slipper. Here, I have the other one. I'm the one he's looking for.
Now in this movie, we have seen that Lady Tremaine is a rather unpleasant woman, as she should be. But the original also set a really high bar for Tremaine being downright evil. Can this movie match it?
Whatever you think happened last night was a dream. Stay away from the prince. Oh, and clean up that broken glass.
I've always dreamed that my life could be like a fairy tale, a perfect fantasy. Was it nothing more than a dream?
She sent Cinderella right into singing a lament. Well, I guess that answers my question. What a bitch. We cut next to sword practice between Prince Charming and the king.
She was the one. I know it.
You think there's only one woman in the whole kingdom who wears a size 4.5?
It's all I have to go on here.
You know, I'm really actually enjoying the self-awareness card they're playing here. And if that wasn't enough for you, Prince Charming also possesses common sense.
Hello. Am I in the right room? Of course I'm in the right room. It's just that I was expecting, someone else.
I don't want to get your guys' hopes up or anything, but it's been less than 20 minutes and this movie's already given me a little more than I bargained for. But of course, Tremaine has the magic wand.
Hold the trumpet. It's all coming back. It is you.
Cinderella, fresh from her lament, sneaks to the castle in disguise and under the impression that the prince still has his common sense.
We danced last night at the ball.
Maybe you've mistaken me for some other prince.
Point taken.
Well, once you dance with someone like Anastasia, you don't want to waste any time.
Did you say Anastasia?
Yes.
But
If that's not a heartbreaker worthy of one of Cinderella's famous crying sessions, I don't know what is. Or we could do this!
step to the fairy godmother. She stole it?
I Cinderella waits.
Princey, you will marry Anastasia.
Anastasia.
Bibbidi-bobbidi-boo!
Okay, that was hilarious. Yes, the filmmakers just missed a really good moment for a tear-jerking, rock-bottom kind of moment for audience and character alike. But this time, just barely, I'll let it slide. So as Cinderella aims to fix this sabotage, there's an incident in the food hall as the prince and king arrive.
Are we in the right room?
Is that going to be this movie's running joke? Because I kind of like it. It's nice and simple. The prince instigates a dance to prove Anastasia's non-existent finesse.
Go get him, Twinkle Toes.
Drizella, there is only one girl in the universe who's allowed to use that term. And unless your eyesight suddenly stops working and you gain the power to move boulders with your mind, I don't think it's you.
I'll never forget when I first touched your hand.
That could be important.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Afterwards, the king takes Anastasia aside.
Reminds me of my queen. She trod on my feet, too. This shell was the queen's most treasured possession. We found it while walking by the water the day we met. And when our hands touched, that's when I knew I'd found true love. There's no more powerful force in the world than true love.
Could have seen that going a bit of a weird direction, but that was kind of touching. I'm honestly a little shocked right now. This movie is not living up to the reputation of the direct-to-video Disney sequels. Or maybe I should say not living down to the... Anyway. Of course, Tremaine and Drizella can't see the value in it.
What is love compared to the power we hold with the wand?
And this is a pivotal moment for Anastasia, where her motivations start to change throughout the rest of the film. Cinderella manages to find the room they're in and sees Tremaine hide the wand in the drawer, With the key in Tremaine's pocket, the mice volunteer to go get it.
This is like deja vu.
To put it mildly, the covert operation doesn't go very well. So Cinderella goes in pretending to be a castle maid, which also doesn't work for very long.
Isn't that right, Cinderella?
Thankfully, the keybearers, not those, can still do their stuff. Give the wand to Cinderella. Now would be a good time. Okay, I'm skipping this. Prince Charming is dragged out by the bluebird she sent, and he's a pretty good sport for just going along with them, and she attempts to cast the spell.
No!
Damn.
You're under a spell. That's why you don't remember me. Please, just listen.
Nice try, but we won!
You won?
Put her on the next ship leaving the kingdom. I want her banished forever.
Well, you're only the mother-in-law of our future princess, and technically you have no authority over anything. But sure, why not? The mice get Charming's attention. He goes along with it, albeit now questioning his sanity, and they explain the situation.
Wait, hold on. I think I understand. Actually, I got nothing.
What should we do?
Ducks, Louie? No, Gus. This is Disney. We gotta sing it.
With a magic wand, she cast a wicked spell.
Wicked spell.
Which is why poor Princey isn't feeling well.
Not so well.
You've forgotten Cinderella and the dance she shared last night. But Cinderella was
The servant girl? This Cinderella? This belongs to her?
I bet you he's gonna call her Cinderella when he sees her, too. Now up to speed, he's off to save Cinderella. He's held up a bit by his father.
But the talking mice say she's the wrong girl.
Son? Talking mice? Son? I forbid you to take another step down these stairs!
Okay.
Ah yes, gotta love a loophole. And apparently, passionate defiance is all it takes to win him over.
I'll send the troops after him at once, Your Majesty.
No, let him go.
But Your Majesty, the wedding.
Let him go.
Can't hold him back anymore. Then he leaps onto the ship, takes Cinderella's hand, and remembers everything from the night at the ball. Although he touched her hand briefly earlier in the movie, I'm not sure why that didn't seem to do much, but who cares?
Will you marry me, Cinderella?
Hey, you do understand continuity. And with that, Tremaine and the stepsisters learn that true love really is the most powerful force on Earth. And as the story is supposed to be, the prince and Cinderella live happily ever... Ah!
It's not over yet.
Well, of course it's not over. I mean, that would be way too sudden an ending. Tremaine is in trouble when the king finds out what they've done.
Using magic on my son. The nerve!
So you see, magic is something that they can tell the king about and he won't bat an eyelash. It's talking animals where he draws the line. Tremaine won't go down so easily, though.
Do exactly as I say.
Open up in the name of the king!
Cinderella prepares for her wedding, but is interrupted. That lady is scary. So is her new plan.
He'll be perfectly happy.
But will you, Anastasia? Will you be happy?
I want what you had.
But do you even love him?
Tremaine conjures up a pumpkin carriage for Lucifer, bewitching him to human form, and he whisks Cinderella away from the castle, in stark opposition to the carriage's purpose in the original story. I'm having a hard time deciding what this moment is. Is it cheap? Is it deep? Or is it just ironic? Anyway, we then get a slightly intense riding sequence with some fairly creepy imagery given to the pumpkin carriage's evil twin.
Bad kitty. Now what are we gonna do?
Well, I'm not gonna miss my own wedding.
Disguised Anastasia, about to marry the prince, is getting cold feet as she considers Cinderella's words and other things about love she's learned throughout the movie.
You know it's love when you touch someone's hand, right?
You know, it's strangely satisfying to see this character arc come to its conclusion. Anastasia's choice?
I don't.
I've given you everything you ever wanted, Anastasia.
But I want someone to love me for me.
Check. Evil's comeuppance? Check. Though not quite harsh enough, I don't think. Let's see, what else is there? Sisterhood?
Thank you.
Okay, check. Ah, heck, let's throw in one more touchy moment there, okay?
Your Majesty, I don't deserve this.
Everyone deserves true love.
Check. Now, is there anything else we're missing here?
Oh, goodness.
Oh, yeah. I guess we do need her back, don't we?
Well, does anyone want to marry my son?
I do.
Aw. How cute.
And they lived happily ever after. Again.
So that was Cinderella 3, A Twist in Time. I was pleasantly surprised by this movie. The voice performances are good, especially from Lady Tremaine. Anastasia's character arc has some pretty touching moments. I like the more proactive and capable Cinderella, and the antics in this movie are a decent laugh, as is the self-awareness of the original story's flaws. That being said, the flaws of this movie aren't as easily forgivable. Bizarre circumstances and sudden tune changes for characters make the movie suffer, and having what is essentially two climaxes lessens the impact of the movie as a whole. The songs aren't very memorable, and the use of magic as the main plot device starts to feel cheap very quickly. Everywhere it's magic on this, magic on that, randomness happens. It's just used way too much to drive the story. Still, I think this is worth a viewing by anybody who has a soft spot for Cinderella's story. Not great, but definitely not as bad as some of the other Disney sequels. Now for the plot holes, and let's start off with the biggest one of all, shall we? It seems the writers of this movie took a candle to the story arc Anastasia went through in Cinderella 2, where she met a baker, learned to follow her heart, and began rejecting her stepmother's sick views on proper engagements. What on earth happened to that? Oh. It's like they knew I was going to ask. Touché, movie. Why is magic so random sometimes? In the hands of an unpracticed, unorthodox user, of which this movie has many, that's just bound to happen. How could Cinderella see Tremaine put the wand in the drawer? The way the keyhole was positioned to give view into the room, she shouldn't have had a vantage point. Why didn't Charming's memories return when Cinderella first touched his hand? Perhaps it wasn't quite enough of a touch. They fully clasped hands when the spell was broken, so maybe the magical connection is just more powerful that way.
One day or another, we have to get used to the differences we return to. And who knows? Maybe these differences will turn into something better.
Are we in the right room?